In this episode today, we have Dr. Paul Caron from Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a really interesting episode because Paul speaks in a way that we really haven't heard much in the Rehab Chiro Mastermind. And what I mean by that is he is unbelievably successful, but I think more than anything, Paul is the most self-aware person that I've talked to on this podcast, meaning he was very clear on what he wants, when he can pivot, and in the moment of being content with where he is at. And I think for many people here whose goal is to build a lifestyle business, listening to Paul and how he thinks about it, you can just hear it in his voice. I watched it in his face about how happy, content, and excited he was. In this episode, he talks about how he started his practice, where he got stuck, and how he's built the business now to live the life that he wants. Even beyond that, he's now discussed the levers that he's going to turn in order to take those next steps as he is now ready to grow. But during this period, which has been unbelievable to see, it's a person who's truly lived the message. You know, this job isn't just about making more money. It's not just about making more money. It's about living a life that you want. The business is just a conduit to the lifestyle that you want, and there's no one I know that's done that better than Paul Caron. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hey, and before you get to the episode, I just want to let everyone know our live event is coming up September 14th, 15th here in New Jersey. It's going to be an absolute doozy. We are going to teach you the exact system and process I use in my practice, Strive to Move, to make $50,000 in less than a week without spending $1 on marketing. We're going to be going over all about internal promotions and how to run promotions within your practice that are not only easy, but cheap and very profitable, which is the name of any business here. So if you are interested in that, keep a lookout because we will be releasing guest passes soon. So many of our most successful people started with coming to our live event. So you will want to be there. It is a cannot miss, as they all are. And we always have some surprises that we try to do it right. We are absolutely specializing in making world-class events so that you can have a wonderful time, but more importantly, grow your business.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business School for the Rehab Chiropractor. Class is officially in session. My name is Justin Rabinowitz, and I am a rehab chiropractor on a mission to teach you, a fellow rehab chiropractor, the exact tools and systems I've used to build my own successful rehab chiropractic practice so you can do the same. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe.
Paul, what's the biggest mindset shift you've had since joining ChiroBiz 101 and Mastermind?
Definitely that a coach is necessary. I found it funny that I actually was a high-level rugby coach. Everything that I wanted to get better at, I did the thing and then had a mentor or coach. So before I joined, even ChiroBiz 101, I thought I can do this. I'm a smart guy. And then as I, followed you, got your content, and then did ChiroBiz 101, I was like, why wouldn't I have a coach for this part of my life? And obviously it helped. So if we probably could do it by ourselves, so to speak. But if you're trying to do it well and do it fast, why not have someone help you with that process? Because literally in every other facet of my life, I was using mentors and coaches. So using a coach, and now I actually have 2 coaches helping me business-minded wise. And I'm spending almost $25,000 on business coaching, which sounds insane. Because if I told myself a year and a half ago that I was doing that, I don't think I would have agreed.
Yeah, well, I love it. And so let's pick it up. We got you in the group. You were working at the joint. We got you in. You got the startup going, and you got to, I think, 8 to 10K a month. And then we got stuck. And we had a conversation where you were just frustrated with the business. You were frustrated with the program, and you were like basically ready to go. And I remember having the conversation of like, hey, what's going on? And here's a couple of things to try. But take us to the point where you got it off the ground. But then the next step where you're like, all right, now what? I got stuck. Where were you at that point? And then what was the learnings that you've had since then? Because we'll get to where it's gone since that point.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for that was, and you said it before, that the business exposes personal bottlenecks, or if you want to say the other way, personal bottlenecks will expose your business. For me, I think fear of rejection was a weird concept of, man, I know I'm valuable. I know I can provide value. I'm good at my job, but I don't want to be told no by someone. And so to you were like, do all the marketing, stop thinking so much, just do this thing. And I was like, look, it's not working, or I'm not doing it the right way. And I'll bring it back to the coaching aspect. I think the best athletes in the world are the ones that do the simple things right and consistently. And they're the best at the most simple things. So I think I was like, hey, this isn't working out for me. And we started an accelerator program for a bunch of us that kind of felt the same way. And I think it was 1 week long, and it was basically a kick in the ass to be like, hey, have you done the thing? So doing the simple things over and over and getting really good at them. And for us, it's marketing and sales. And I kind of stopped there, and it might just be sales at this point. And I'll explain maybe why and a little bit why marketing hasn't really been an issue for me at that point. But it's just doing the simple things and getting out of your own way, because my fear of rejection in my personal life, in whatever way that represented itself, was starting to make itself known in the business. And I think it's amazing that the business can be sort of like this therapy for our personal side of things.
Yeah. And so you mentioned more about the sales and how it's only sales at this point. So what does that mean?
Yeah, I might go against the grain here from everyone else you've had on or is in the group. My marketing, especially in person, is probably a lot lower units wise than most people. I take pride in the product I have. Sometimes we just need a better burger, so to speak, to sell. So my product is a really tasty burger. I think it's a great product. So that side of things is good. If you have a good product, it's not as hard to sell, and usually you don't have to market, let's say. So the selling was the big thing, is understanding that if you can help someone, why would you be afraid to help them? Because that's the whole point of what we're doing this for. And we started this whole process for. So if you can help them, aka the product, why wouldn't you speak to them in a way that would make them understand that and then be excited to hop on board? And so the marketing aspect has I don't want to say disappeared, but now it's all within the business. I think, the old school way of word of mouth is very much alive. I think I did a good job with certain key players. Those people have referred 6 to 7 different people, which in our world is a massive deal. And I wouldn't say that I pushed or pressed aggressively with that, but I think the sales process and then the product and everything was delivered as said, helps people feel comfortable and safe.
I want to go back now because it's a couple of things you mentioned I wrote down that sound very unique. And I think one of the unique things about us in business is, everyone in our mastermind, there's 100 and something people in it, and everyone deep down believes that they're better than the competition and they do good work. The paradox is it's not like a professional sport where we can watch the product on the field and we can make that decision, right? Like I know the Jets stink because I watch it. But when a client tells me I'm doing great, but I don't get referrals, or the product is good, but no one wants, and it's like, you have to start to wonder based on what you're saying, how good is it, right? So take me behind the scenes. I'm curious. I want to learn from you. You said the product is really good. If you had to, what is that secret sauce that makes your product that good? Is it results? Is it how you speak to people? Is it expectation management? Is it some technique? Like, what is the thing that makes your product better than some other people that are struggling?
Yeah, I don't think I'm the best adjuster. I don't think I'm the best soft tissue guy. I'm a pretty good movement guy, but I definitely don't think I'm the best of that. Speaking of coaches, I have coaches for literally all 3 of those, or I've bought programs to get better at all of those. So I'm obviously not the best. I'm going through rounds of interviews to hire an associate, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But the biggest thing in the interviews is being able to communicate with someone. If you can truly communicate with someone who is in a state of need and you listen to them. So if you're looking for a secret sauce, listening to the human across the table next to you on the bench, probably a good starting point. And then communicate exactly what you are going to deliver and then deliver it. There's almost no way that things can go wrong. And wrong meaning, hey, I want a refund. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't exactly what you said. I feel like I'm being cheated. This is way too expensive. All of those things, all these obstacles that we learn to go over the sales, they don't even present themselves. So if you take the proactive approach of communication, listening to a person who's in need, because that's why they're sitting there. They wouldn't be sitting there if they didn't need something that you have, and then telling them exactly how you'll deliver that, and then delivering it, I don't understand how things can go wrong.
So can you give me a tactical example? And the reason I'm asking is because I used to feel this way, and I know many people do. We're in the business of healthcare, which it is imperfect. And so when it gets into, someone asked me last week, they're like, I'm into research and science. And sometimes like we know that it's hard to tell people exactly what's going to happen because we don't know. Pain's a weird thing. So how do you take that and translate it to, you're shaking your head. So talk to me about that.
Well, I think that's exactly what people have been wanting to hear. They have been sold their entire life of buy this and this will get fixed. How many times has that ever actually been the case? Our whole society is so on this weird verge of like so sick of every promise that's been told to them, whether, we can go from every possible avenue of life. Hey, I promise this will happen. It didn't work out. If you are just bluntly honest with, hey, I don't know if this is going to work. I am really good at this thing. I can promise certain things will happen over time. And most of that's going to be you learning about how you move. And I think that's probably even more valuable than your golf swing or your pain level right now. If you tell them bluntly, like, I don't know, that's the point. This is the whole point of this. But I think, if you're betting on horses and you are just betting blindly versus talking to someone who's worked with all the horses, I bet you have a better shot at making a good bet. So I think it's just providing some clarity, telling them that you're a human, understanding that they're a human. And you mentioned healthcare. What's the point of healthcare? So what is required for healthcare? Healthcare requires a human, right? We're trying to make them healthier. Not much of our medical system today talks about the human aspect of that. They're so excited to make sure that all the symptoms are checked off or that they get money in the bank and they're feeling better. There would be no healthcare if a human wasn't involved. Like we're not painting houses here. So we need a human as part of the healthcare. And I think the human aspect of our entire medical system has been lost. And I think people are just stoked to be listened to. I have hour-long appointments and I often sometimes don't say much and they talk. And I think that's probably just as therapeutic as the movements we do. I'm not a therapist, obviously, but I think just being listened to is such a big part of what I do.
So much value in what you just said. And to bring it back to something you said that we talk about a lot. And I can tell you what you've discovered so quickly is something that took me years. What I call it, and I teach our team, is we have to play a home game. What that means is that we have to play on a field that we know that we're confident in. When you said, I don't know this, but here's what I do know, we teach the same thing with our team. And so an example in our practice would be like, do you think you can absolutely solve my back pain? It's like, I don't know that, but here's what I do know. I know that your hip rotation is this. I know that this is this. And I know if we work on these specific things and they improve, the chances of your back pain going away are very, very high. And I'm very confident that that's true. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. But that would be a way that I would take it into something that I know. And actually, it's funny, I was reminded of this and I forgot. But the podcast that was released, we're recording it today, that was released yesterday with Kian. He and I did a call when he was still an intern in Colorado, and he's moving back home to the small town. And he's like, is it going to work there? And I don't remember, but I guess he said, I told him that I'm not 100% sure. Like, I don't know. How would I know? I'm not from the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I can't tell you, but here's what I think. And here's why I think we could try it. And I think, and something I learned at my seminar this week was, one of the frames to go through a lot of times is like, what's the upside of us trying this? What's the downside? And like, what's the catastrophic downside? The beautiful thing about what we do it for a living is the like catastrophic, like real for surgery, like someone could die. Catastrophic in our world is it doesn't work. And that's not a bad downside. And being able to communicate that, I think is really, really, really valuable. So sounds like for you, almost not getting away from the physical aspect of the clinical care, but that's secondary to the level of being able to listen and communicate is something that's been unbelievably valuable for you in the business. Yes?
100%. I think if you had to narrow it down to a couple words, it's blunt honesty. I think people are so, they feel so refreshed when they hear exactly what I think and they can do whatever they want with that information. So allowing them to have the information and make an educated decision, that's all I'm there for. And whether they say yes or no, that's all up to them.
So we're going to teach this at our next live event about basically internal referrals. And the reason we're teaching it is because, and that's why I'm going to ask you, is because what I found in practice and in business is it's one of the more frustrating things with practitioners, because it seems like it's one of those things that some people, they either got it or they don't. And it's very hard to be able to I don't know. So from your perspective, you get people that are referring in mass, which has allowed you to not have to do a ton of external marketing. Do you have a process? Do you have specific asks? Do you have a funnel? How does this happen for someone listening that's like, well, I want to get that many referrals too?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually was talking to someone, one of my clients yesterday, and she was angry for me because she has referred 3 or 4 people. One of them hasn't signed on. And she was like, man, she would be so much. She's her hiking partner and she's pretty frustrated. And she actually just referred me her husband. And the only push that took was, and if we're speaking like from a business side of things, I think people are looking for reasons to speak their mind. So I said, I'll tack on an extra visit for every person you refer. People doing the math, we are a high price point. They're like, wow, that's insane. I could probably get someone to come in and that saves me X amount of money. So I had one guy quite literally refer me 6 people. 5 of 6 all came in and now they are talking and it's all these new groups of people. But the thing I do is 1, listen to them. 2, if they're not your perfect patient, maybe I don't push that as much, but when they are, you aggressively communicate with them that you would like to, find more people like them because they're great. And the way you do that, and you've talked about this a lot, is, hey, if you have someone you care for, if you know that of someone I could help with their issue, I'll give you a free visit on your care plan. It is quite literally as simple as that. I know it's not some magic plan that you're hoping for.
No, I'm not. I wasn't hoping for that. I actually figured it was even less than that, but I was trying to tease out what it was that you were doing.
Before I even said that to the initial, I call them like the golden goose. Like I had not mentioned that. And I said, by the way, you've been awesome. This is what my process is usually like. You've just gained 6 free visits, and they were over the moon. Then they went to tell a bunch more people. So the process, I've spent $0 marketing, which is about to probably change as we'll talk about soon as I'm going to expand, but 0 Facebook, 0 Google, 0 Instagram. I've probably done criminally low amount of in-person seminars. Mm-hmm. But like you said, everyone's different. And if we're better at different things, maybe we just accelerate in the better things. And that's how our business grows.
Quick interruption. If you have not purchased my book, Rehab Chiro Biz, The Proven System to Build and Grow Your Rehab Chiropractic Business, it is for sale on Amazon. Please click the link in the show notes to get your copy today. Now back to the show.
Just to put a bow on the referral piece, I think some people that are listening say, oh, all I have to do is offer someone a free session. And I would just caution them to say the first part of the conversation is actually the reason why. The free session is just the thing that might encourage someone a little bit more to do it. And so what we say in our business is any sort of like promo or extra or special or ask is just exactly. It's the thing that pushes the boulder off the hill. It's
Correct.
like I got it to the hill. And so I think that focus on doing all of the things that we talked about in the first 10 minutes, then the little thing at the end is just what kind of gets them over the line.
And I can add on to that to clarify, both of the 3 people who have been the golden geese, they had already referred without any incentive. So that's a major green light to say, by the way, if you do this, then it turns, a trickle into a downpour.
I love it. I actually want to go a different direction than even expansion because I followed from afar. The name of your practice is what?
Yeah, The Art of Movement.
So what I wanted to ask you, the thing that I think is really cool is what I've noticed, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, is you have a certain way in which that you want to live your life and you have passions that are also outside of being a doctor. And one of those passions is art. Yes?
Yeah.
And the name of your business literally says that. And I've seen videos and pictures online. And I know you've done events in that area. I'd love for you to speak about how you've taken to like your vocation, which I know you're passionate about, and a hobby, and thought about how the hell can I mash these two together to make it something. Listen, we're in business. You do it a lot. You might as well do it how you want to do it. So how have you thought about that and done that?
Yeah. And I think this is going to tie perfectly into why I'm at the current income revenue that I am.
Which is what?
Which is $20K a month for the past, since November of last year. And it's not a crazy high number. It's definitely not a low number by any means, but I have been able to live a very happy, chill, and life that I actually could probably do forever. And I think that's something that maybe missed on certain business podcast thoughts is that we need to push until we're like billionaires.
Yeah.
I think our first call, Justin, was like, what do you want to do? And I actually had a pretty good sense of what I wanted to do. And then actually honing in on what exactly makes me happy. And it's having a lot of time to do the extracurriculars. So, like you're mentioning, the art of movement wasn't an accident. I love movement. Art is definitely involved in my world. I have someone, every time someone comes in, they get to add to this giant chaotic mural of everything that someone's added along the way. And that's probably going to be retired soon. But the reason I run the business the way it is so that I can live the life that I want, which I'm sure you've heard a million times, but it's true. I work in quotations with clients 3 days a week. The other days are for me to allow to grow or cruise in the business, which, to be honest, cruising in the business has been the past couple months and it's been amazing. And so the tying of art into my world is people want you for you. Like they're not expecting you to be this weird anomaly of like the perfect robot. And they don't want that. I enjoy art. I actually sponsored this awesome art event in Atlanta called Forward Warrior. There's a giant wall of murals. They redo them every September. It's amazing. I actually went out and supported all the artists, and that was awesome. I just got to do that. Did that impact my business as far as revenue? Probably not. Did that impact my life as far as quality? Definitely. I was always wanting to be a part of that. So if this is any advice to anyone doing anything, is just be yourself, which is the most cliche BS ever.
But it's, I want to interrupt you because the next question I was going to have was actually where that comes from for you, because as you speak, the one thing that is very evident that most people don't have is that there's a very clear sense of who you are, like who you are and who you want to be. And going back to like the billionaire thing or the work thing and all of that, it's funny because you and I are actually quite similar. We're both very clear in who we are, but very different in who we are. But the problem and the challenge I think people struggle with is they potentially think they want to be more like me that loves to do this 7 days a week. And it's like my pastime, but they think that they want that, but they actually really want what you are. And that's where the disconnect is. They try to do this, but they actually don't want to do that. But how do you think about like being comfortable in your own skin and just to actually put your feet in the ground and say, this is what I want?
This is going to be a great question to go full circle on about everything. But the business, those strangleholds, those points where we're bottlenecked, personal. So people pleasing was a thing that I am still working on, and not really knowing what I want and doing what I want. And so the business was this amazing avenue to be like, look, if I don't hone in on exactly what I know, what I want to do, and have a perfect vision of where I'm going, I'm going to get lost and end up working 8 days a week. It's going to be a mess, or just not working at all, and it's going to be a mess. So that was one of the major hurdles I had early on was I need to know what I want. I do know what I want, and I know the life where I want to live. So I'm living that currently. I have phone calls with 6 or 7 different people from the group every week. And I get to see them kind of go like this. And I'm proud to say that I have been really happy, which is an insane comment. Not that they have been happy, but I've seen people like hit the ceiling of burnout, then drop to like, I'm never going to be successful. And it's this constant moving of the goalpost that doesn't need to happen, in my opinion. And if we're able to see that where we're at is exactly where we wanted to be 6 months ago, it's a pretty awesome feeling. Not to say that I'm complacent. I'm about to have a conversation with you about the next steps, and I'm expanding quite literally today. So now I get to bump up because I want to, and that's such a power. I want to have more revenue. I want to have more associates. I want to have the business in 10 years that I can step away from entirely, and in 2 years just be doing this remotely and making sure that the business is running well. So in order for that to happen, things need to happen today, and that's exciting. But I have been so happy and content with where I've been and what I've done that maybe that's what's coming through more than anything. And maybe that's probably the confidence coming through in the personal communications with all the clients, and they see that. So
love it.
That might be it.
I love it. And so before we go, you are expanding, and I always want to give you a chance because you're in Atlanta, so it is a little bit easier in your life, but tell us a little bit about like who you're looking for. I know you're in the process, even if you have someone, maybe you're going to get more or it's different, it doesn't work. Tell the people, tell our audience, who would be a perfect fit to work with you and how they can get in contact.
Yeah, I've been talking about this a lot recently, and we've mentioned it a lot today. Us two having a conversation like this with clear communication back and forth, and both of us eager to learn about the other, that's probably number one. I don't care where your clinical skills are. I think we can improve those. I'm going to train you anyways. I can teach you all about the business. If we're having a hard time communicating, even on a simple phone call, that's going to be a tough thing for us to get through. So communication, I just want to know who you are. I don't care about your awesome abilities. I just want to know who you are, what you like to do, because that's important. If you're not yourself, you're not trying to make yourself better, then this isn't going to work. And then just like I said, growth. If you're not eager to get better in some form or facet, then this isn't going to work. So an awesome communicator would be wonderful, and someone who's just eager to grow. That's about it. Yeah.
And what's the best way for people if they wanted? I guess Instagram is nice and easy. What is the Instagram handle?
Instagram is AOM, so Art of Movement, AOM Cairo. That's it.
AOM Cairo.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Any last closing thoughts to anyone? Or maybe I always ask people, if someone's on the fence about ChiroBiz 101 or Mastermind and they're listening to the podcast, what would you say to them?
Yeah. If you have done anything in your life really well and you thought you could have done better with a coach, why didn't you get a coach? This has been one of the main reasons why I've been able to be so happy and calm and content and pleased with where I am in my life and have so much more to go. So my question would be is, why do you want to slow down your success? Even if you do or are successful, why would you want to slow your success down without having a coach?
I love it. Paul, I just want to recognize you and have a lot of gratitude going back to that conversation, because you gave me a chance to help you the first time and then the second time, which doesn't always happen. And so I appreciate you giving me that chance, because I obviously am here and I want to be able to build this and help you get to where you're going. But, obviously you've done all the work. So I think you've done tremendously well, and more than the money, it's amazing to hear you speak in a way that no one else has talked about happy and contentment and gratitude of the process and being where you are. And I think it's very refreshing to hear that. So I think it's an amazing place to be. And I'm excited for the next steps for you, because you have the right mindset and frames to go about it and attack whatever comes your way. So I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Super grateful.
Appreciate you. Have a good day, bud.
You too. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, as always, I just want to encourage you, beg you, plead you to please go and buy my book, Rehab Chiro Biz, the proven system to build and grow your rehab chiropractic business. I'm telling you, I give you all the answers in this book. I give you all the answers. The answers are in this book. When you come into my world, into my mastermind, you pay me to implement it. But the answers, I held nothing back. It is here. So if you follow my content for a while, if anything I said is valuable to you, I would ask you cordially to go on Amazon, purchase the book. And if you're feeling inspired, please leave me a 5-star Amazon review. And even more, I'd love for you to buy the book, post a selfie with it on Instagram and tag me in that to help us spread the word. So link is in the show notes for you to purchase the book. Again, thank all of you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day.